Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Gurrs, and Purrs. My name is Leslie, and today we're going to be finally getting to my May wrap-up. May and June were just crazy months for me, so I'm really behind. And I have some really thrilling reads, as well as some duds or some disappointments, but it's not necessarily like the book's fault. So here we go. The author of Minor Feelings dedicated one particular chapter talking about an author and the memoir that they wrote before they passed away. And so I wanted to read it because the author revered this memoir so much as far as like the creative approach to memoir. And so I picked up Dictee by Teresa Hak Kyoung Cha, and I couldn't get into it. The memoir isn't really tackled in a way where it's just about the self. It's about the history of what women go through, what her family went through generationally, and yeah, so much more. Either way, this is written in a poetic fashion that's too sophisticated for me, so I didn't get far, which is such a bummer because I was so excited. This has been sitting on my shelf for a while, ever since I read, ever since I read Minor Feelings. This has been a book that I've been wanting to read, and yeah, I just don't think I'm ready for it. I don't want to knock the book down, but anytime I read poetry and I, bring up the subject of, let's say, accessibility, can I understand this? Is this too abstract for me? This is an example of that. It's just, I don't necessarily think it's a book. It's just not really something that I could really tackle right now. So this is going back on my shelf. At some point I will read it, but I just don't think I'm ready for it. What I would like to happen is, it'd be really cool if the author of Minor Feelings did like an audible of this. That'd be kind of cool, but that's purely for selfish reasons because I couldn't get through this. I don't know. It's a bummer, but here we are. Alright, so for the month of May, my author focus was supposed to be Viet Thanh Nguyen, but here's the thing. I couldn't get into his work, and I should have known that was going to happen because I read The Refugees First, which is a short story collection, which I tend to gravitate towards. I really enjoy short story collections in between novels. It just kind of breaks up that long form, and I found the short story collection to just feel like a bit uneven in terms of the writing approach. And I said it in my book chat, but for instance, there'll be a short story that relies heavily on symbolism, when I think symbolism is really meant to accent whatever the author is trying to say, and I found that it didn't help the story along. It kind of hurt it in a way, or at least that's how I felt. But then the few short stories that I did enjoy, I like genuinely really loved. And so that kind of set me down a path of thinking that when I picked up the Sympathizer, I thought I would read this along with the audio version. And so I got 14 chapters in, and I couldn't keep going. From what I did read, the author is saying a lot. I like that he tackles the complexity of identity, and talks about so much more. Oh my gosh, my cat is meowing right now. But either way, hopefully you can't hear that. Here we go. I close the door so that they don't do this, but when I close the door, they start to protest and will meow right outside the door. And sometimes they'll even jump on my door. It's crazy. Anyways, so I couldn't get into this, so I just stopped because I have a habit of when I can't get into a book, I will force myself to keep going, and it's just a painful, slow experience to the point where I delay my schedule on everything else that I need to read, and that's exactly what I did when I started reading this. So that also means that I didn't even get to The Committed, which is the second book. I really wanted to read both of these books because they're going to be adapted. I don't know where it's going, but they are. It's been shot. It's been adapted. I don't know when it's coming out, but I just wanted to read both before the adaptation comes out. I don't know if it's going to be an HBO or not. Either way, that was just like my failed attempt to read those books. The two books that I did enjoy were not scheduled reads. That was Crying in Mart by Michelle Zauner. I have seen a couple of other people review this book, and they seem to really love this, and I completely see why. I love the way that this author writes. This book is about a woman has like a fractured relationship with her mother, and it's not until her young adulthood, when her mother becomes ill, that she's really suddenly feels the pressure of time to mend her relationship with her mother, but also become reconnected with her own culture, and also look back and reevaluate how she perceived, and the parts of her that she revered, and the other parts of her that she shied away from, or was like almost like ashamed of in a way. And I like the way that she writes about these moments, because sometimes she'll write about something, but she's well aware that at the moment, at the younger age, she didn't really see the deeper conversation that was going on about why she felt that way, or why in society were there certain features or certain cultural aspects that are revered over others. And so I really love this book, even though it does explore mourning a loved one. It feels like more of that. There's this kind of wave of emotion that goes on, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. The other book was Disability Visibility, first person stories from the 21st century. Each story is from someone who is disabled, and just tackling topics of what they think is important to explore. And yeah, I don't think I could do this book any justice, but I really loved it. I brought it up in the book chat, but I will say that one that stuck out for me was the story of an inmate that's also deaf, and how isolating that could be when they don't have anyone else to communicate with, but also how, to me, I read it as if they run into some civil rights issues as far as accessibility to communicate to someone on legal matters. So that really struck a chord with me. I definitely feel like it's this book that you pick up and you read and you just feel like alarm bells are going off, because there's just so much to tackle and so much that needs to be done. And I really loved it. So yeah, that was for the month of May. I'm sorry this is late. This is kind of a bit crazy. I think maybe I just bit off more than I could chew. And also another contributing factor is maybe I've just hit that point in the middle of the year where I'm getting like book burnout. But yeah, let me know what you think about any of these books. And if you've read The Sympathizer or The Committed, let me know what you think. I feel so bummed that I couldn't get into it. I'm going to try to get into it another year. It's not going to be this year. I have the whole year scheduled out for what I want to read, and so it's just going to sit and collect dust. yeah, I gotta get over it because it's a little bit frustrating. I feel a bit frustrated and disappointed in myself, but here we are. Alright, so let me know what you read for the month of May, if you could remember by this time, because now it's July, and I'll be tackling my June books soon, because I think I'm already behind on my second video. So wish me luck. Like, subscribe, comment below, and I hope you have a lovely day.